don't make compromise. We have to point out their foolishness. That is our business. Unquote. Devotees follow the example of Prahlad, who did not refrain from benefiting Hiranyakashipu, the archetypal materialist, by informing him that he was a misdirected fool and rascal, even though doing so was sure to severely disturb Hiranyakashipu. That inevitably some people will become upset is no grounds for gauging the message of the parampara. Devotees should know that whatever supposedly altruistic reasons opponents proffer for opposing Krishna consciousness, such persons are actually demons whose agenda is to exploit others. Quote, rascals and fools are trying to obstruct us because if everyone becomes Krishna conscious, then they can't cheat anyone. Unquote. Thus, notwithstanding the air of envious, devotees must continue to disturb others by preaching the truth. Quote, a child is also irritated when he is given instructions, but that does not mean that we should stop. Unquote. Even if bluntness will make devotees unpopular, to be unpopular among fools is not bad. What is bad is to acquaint with foolishness by not speaking against it. After all, non devotees are certified by Shastra to be madmen. However, much we try to please such deluded people, we will never be able to satisfy them. For as long as they are not Krishna conscious, they must remain dissatisfied. Quote, Bhukti Mukti Siddhi Kami Sakali Asant. All varieties of non devotees have material desires and thus cannot be peaceful. Unquote. If in their madness conditioned souls consider a devotee their worst foe, a dutiful devotee will continue to act as their best friend by unfailingly delivering to them spiritual knowledge as it is. Only devotees can understand that without the liberating knowledge of Shastra, madmen are doomed to consider themselves sane and will continue to foist their insanity on others. Therefore, devotees must try to save the madman despite their opposition. Quote, you cannot expect a favorable situation and still you have to preach. That is preaching. They will speak like madmen. So many things. They are mad after all. Nunam pramatta kurute vikarma yadindriya pritaya apranoti. They have no sense. All materialistic persons are madmen. Still, by the order of the superior Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we have to do this preaching work. Actually, the American boys are fighting against so many unfavorable situations. They are sometimes beaten in the airport. Do you know that? Still, they are preaching. That is preaching. Unquote. Only persons who are not straightforward become perturbed by straightforward delineation of the truth. Those who become disturbed reveal themselves to be egoistic rascals. Quote, पयपानं भुजंगानं केवलं विषवर्धनम उपदेशो हि मूर्खानां प्रकोपायन शांतये. Just as feeding milk to a snake only increases its venomous poison, to give good counsel to a foolish person causes him to become more angry. Unquote. The plea to avoid disturbance by not speaking strongly is like the call for absolute non-violence, which, if implemented in a state, would immediately give license to rugs to run amok, torturing ordinary citizens and thus necessitating a backlash of violence far more severe than the administered via the regular policing and punishment of criminals. Similarly, the failure to speak strongly allows all kinds of anomalies to be propagated within human society and even within Vaishnava society, ultimately requiring the advent of a powerful acharya to create much disturbance, as did Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Swami Thakur, just to revive the correct understanding. But such disturbance would not be required if in each generation the Vaishnava gurus were to maintain the parampara practice of incisively and decisively dismantling any attempts to present as the truth anything else but the clear, unfettered truth. So let us continue to speak the truth, knowing that the rascals will become angry. The so called leaders and experts are simply bluffing and cheating people. They should be exposed by challenging them with the sword of Sastric knowledge. End of the chapter. Chapter 16, Quality and Quantity. Preachers of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement are not in competition with cheating religionists, and we need not be dazzled by nor try to emulate their techniques for alluring many followers. Our preaching is to be judged by quality, not merely quantity. Quote, our mission is to see that Lord Chaitanya is satisfied. Never mind if we could not turn many of them to this cult. By the order of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we shall try to teach people about the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, etc., without being depressed whether people are accepting them or not. This is our credit. We shall be judged by the quality of our work, not by the material return. Unquote. Srila Prabhupada would compare the preaching of Krishna consciousness to selling diamonds. Quote, when you are selling diamonds, you don't expect many customers. But if you are giving cut glasses, the fools will come. You have a very precious thing, this Krishna consciousness movement. Don't expect that all the foolish people will take to it. We have got a very nice diamond, try to sell it. If there is a purchaser, he will purchase, otherwise, not. It is our duty to canvass, but we cannot sell iron instead of diamonds. Unquote. Diamond merchants and sellers of trinkets have different clientele. Diamond merchants know the value of their product and sell it on its merit. They do not stoop to displaying glittering trinkets to attract some more customers. Similarly, devotees should not withhold the precious knowledge of Krishna consciousness to instead mimic the innumerable peddlers of cheap religiosity. As Srila Prabhupada often quoted, Ekash tamohanti nacha tarah sahasrasaha. Darkness is dissipated not by thousands of stars, but by one moon. Thus, quote, it is not that we should compromise to attract the mass, we are after the class. We have not very we have not very many followers because we disagree with all rascals. We are not rascals. Stop this all rascaldom. That is our challenge. We may not have many followers. We don't care for that. We don't want these nonsense followers, many thousands. What they will do? But if we can turn one man into Krishna consciousness perfectly, he can do tremendous work in the world. That is our principle. We don't want nonsense. We want a few selected men, not a big crowd. Don't be misled by the bogus. Stick to your own principles. People may come or may not come. We don't care for them. We must speak the right truth. Unquote. That people do not seem to be listening to us is not a valid reason to change our message. When asked, quote, what if people don't want to hear our message? Unquote. Srila Prabhupada replied, quote, the people might not understand our message, but Krishna will be pleased, and that is our mission. They thought Jesus Christ's mission was stopped. They thought Jesus Christ's mission was stopped. They killed him, but his mission was attained. He preached 3 years only, but so many followers. He pleased Krishna. We must not disappoint. We must not be disappointed that no one is hearing Krishna consciousness. We will say to the moon and the stars and all the directions, we will cry in the wilderness because Krishna is everywhere. We We want to get a certificate from Krishna that this man has done something for me, not popularity. If a pack of asses says you are good, what is that? We have to please Krishna's senses with purified senses. Unquote. Referring to Srila Prabhupada's public lectures in Mumbai in 1975, Giriraj Swami observed, quote, Srila Prabhupada was speaking so powerfully that I knew that what he was saying would be hard for many of the audience to accept. If Prabhupada had wanted to flatter the audience or compromise his philosophy, he could have attracted millions of followers. But because he was preaching so boldly and forcefully without compromise, many of the audience did not like it because it was a challenge to their sense gratification and to their sentiment. Unquote. Considering that Srila Prabhupada's whole purpose was to bring people to Krishna consciousness, why did he not take this opportunity to enroll as his followers many of that large group of people who had come to hear him, presumably because they were favorable to his mission and ready to accept his teachings, at least to some extent? It appears, as Giriraj Swami had hinted, that Srila Prabhupada wanted to raise the audience beyond the sentimental, compromised acceptance of Krishna consciousness and bring them to the level of pure devotional service. And for that purpose, he attempted to expose and eliminate their deep rooted mundane attachments and misconceptions. Even though pleasurable speeches that do not confront the hearer's anarthas might be successful in attracting large number of quasi-religious sentimentalists, such presentations cannot compare to the actual standard of preaching that Srila Prabhupada enacted and expected of his disciples, meant to challenge the listeners to give up all their nonsensical ideas and activities and actually surrender to Krishna. It may be postulated that if by going with the flow of public opinion, adjusting to rather than challenging popular sentiments, numerous people start to chant Hare Krishna. Is that not successful preaching? Is it not better to try to encourage many individuals to practice devotional service at some level rather than to remain an obscure sect preoccupied with its own little world? However, to accommodate the worldliness of non-devotees was not the policy of those great acharyas who were most successful in widely propagating Krishna consciousness. As was said of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, quote, if he would just if he would just be a little more sensitive to public opinion and more positive in his outlook, if he would look for the good in others and not grouse so much and not be so insistent on always speaking the straight facts, then surely today no other religious leader would have as many supporters as he. Unquote. Undoubtedly, the pristine message of the acharyas is a tough one to market. Remove the bite, those aspects that make people feel uncomfortable, and preaching becomes so much easier. But there is little meaning in propagating a message so denatured that it has negligible spiritual impact. Faithful servants of the acharyas never consider tweaking their instructions to gain widespread acceptance. Even if millions of people were to start chanting Hare Krishna, if whole nations were to declare allegiance to Srila Prabhupada, if the world's richest people were to dedicate their resources in the service of ISKCON, we still will have failed in our duty if our presentation was not fully in accord with Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. Just as several Apasampradayas are constituted of numerous members who chant the holy names and claim to be followers of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, yet due to their being philosophically and behaviorally deviant, are rejected as bogus by genuine devotees of Mahaprabhu. Hence, if, like the upper sampradayas, we do not clearly distinguish pure devotional service from karma, jnana, and yoga, then widespread acceptance of Krishna consciousness is not success but failure. For instance, we can expect to gain public approval by emphasizing bold bodily and social welfare work, or by portraying Krishna consciousness not as the ultimate truth, but as one path among many, which smacks of Mayavad. But better that we adhere to the spirit of Srila Prabhupada and just present Krishna as he is without trying to hide him. Quote, my only credit is that I am presenting Krishna as he is. I am not diluting Krishna. That is not my business. And therefore, because it is pure, everyone accepts. Pure thing will be accepted everywhere. In Delhi, there is a confectioner's shop wherein all the sweets are prepared in pure ghee. You will find always hundreds of customers there. People are still prepared to pay sufficiently if you give pure thing. So our Krishna consciousness movement is presenting Bhagavad Gita as it is. We have not manufactured anything. While I started this movement in America, some friends suggested that you are writing International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Why not make it God consciousness? It will be accepted by everyone. I replied, God is Krishna. There must be clearly stated Krishna consciousness. I don't mind if nobody accepts it, but there must be Krishna. Unquote. Presenting Krishna as he is without delusion is thus recommended by Srila Prabhupada as the best way to get both quantity, many people taking up Krishna consciousness, and quality, sincere, serious practitioners. Okay, so I'll stop here and request Sridhar Shamprabhu to start reading from here. I'll just give you the access to the mic because I think the case trainers part is not working. So let's see whether we are able to hear your voice. I have given access to the mic to you. So kindly connect and let us know whether.
Hare Krishna,
Yeah,
Prabhuji, can you hear me?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Dandvat Pranam, Prabhu.
Pranam, Prabhuji, Pranam. So we are able to hear you fine. And
Yeah.
will you be able to navigate through the document also?
No, Prabhuji, that I will not be able to do that. You have to do.
Okay, so please start reading. I'll do that.
Okay, Prabhu. And I have to stop like in 23, 24, 11:02 my time. I have a meeting, so I'll stop after 25 minutes from now.
Oh, that's fine. That's the end of the session anyway.
Yes. Yeah. So chapter 17. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vikas Swaminiti Namane Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Chapter 17. Public Opinion. Opposition is our victory. The message of Krishna consciousness as it is so powerful and provocative that it practically invites opposition, which is no reason to present it in any other way. Undoubtedly, the full undiluted message will not be easily accepted. But although an envious person will resent strong preaching by a Vaishnava and disrespect him, considering the devotee to be unnecessarily criticizing others, without the earnest attempt to instill the Krishna conscious message in others, there is no meaning to preaching. Quote, why do you expect that every man will immediately agree with you? That is foolishness. You must know that everybody will disagree with you, and it is your preaching work that you will make him agree with you. We do not expect that everyone will agree. Everybody will disagree, just like our books. 4, 5 years ago, nobody knew these books, so there was no market. But we have created our market. That is preaching. We have created our market. Nobody was dying for want of these books. So that is preaching. Preaching does not mean everyone is ready to accept your theories. You must expect them. You must expect that everyone will not accept it. Now it is your power to convince him. Yes, you must accept. That is preaching. Unquote. Within ISKCON today, such a spirit of preaching has become largely superseded by outreach meant to create a good impression. Of course, it is desirable that the public consider devotees to be decent people. However, those who claim to be followers of Srila Prabhupada should actually follow him by following his example of interacting with others, not just to leave a good impression, but to effect a change in their consciousness. After all, what is the meaning of being a follower of Srila Prabhupada unless we teach what he taught? Simply to make people generally favorable is insufficient. They must be given our message. Better to convey the message and become unpopular rather than be popular for superficial reasons, but with our teachings not communicated. Quote, our Krishna consciousness movement is a protest against all this nonsense, and therefore we are unpopular. But we don't care for that. Popular or unpopular, we must go on with our business. End quote. To devotees in Germany who were struggling to spread Krishna consciousness amid tremendous opposition, Srila Prabhupada wrote, quote, we cannot expect that the people of Kali Yuga will welcome our attempt to spread Krishna consciousness. It is just like a lunatic asylum. The patients are running around madly, and when the doctor tries to give them treatment, they insist that they are not crazy. Sometimes the patient even strikes the doctor. So our task is like that. We cannot stand to see people suffering due to ignorance. What is that ignorance? They do not know that they are not their body. This Krishna consciousness movement is meant to deliver people to the proper understanding that they are not their body, that they are pure spirit soul. We may or may not be appreciated. That is not our concern. We must execute the order of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, which is जार देख तारे कहा कृष्ण उपदेश आमार आज्ञाए गुरु हया तार ईदेश. Whomever you meet, instruct them to follow the orders of Sri Krishna as they are given in Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. In this way, by my order, become a spiritual master and try to liberate everyone in this land. So our business is to satisfy the acharyas and Krishna. If they are pleased, then we know our work is successful. End quote. In striving to satisfy the acharyas and Krishna, we should not be overly concerned about opposition, knowing that it is inevitable and that also we have many supporters. Quote, why do you bother about people who are against us? As there are some people against us, there are many people for us. That is a position in every field of activity. If somebody is against us, why should we bother about it? End quote. We need not think that we are wrong just because others say so. We should rather recognize the insincerity of people who are expert at avoiding Krishna consciousness. If we speak politely, they tend to ignore us. And if we speak bluntly, they often get angry. Better they get angry, according to Srila Prabhupada, who pronounced, opposition is our victory. Quote, no, sorry, it's not quote. Considering that the Krishna consciousness movement is meant to oppose everything held dear by the demons, beginning with meat eating, gambling, illicit sex, intoxication, and all forms of impersonalism and cheating religiosity. If demons do not oppose us, it indicates that they deem us insignificant and unthreatening, which means that we are not doing our job properly. Our preaching is not to the point. Footnote. Devotees have also come under public scrutiny for genuine deviations from proper behavioral norms. For instance, in recent times, devotees have sensibly acknowledged that widespread concern about child abuse within ISKCON schools was not simply the ranting of oppositional voices, but a serious call for devotees to expunge demonic activities within their own ranks. It is nothing new that many people consider the lifestyle and practices of devotees to be radical and extreme. In all times, places, and circumstances throughout human history, the path of utter surrender to Krishna has been in opposition to those of materialists, renouncers, and pseudo devotees. Tension between devotees and non-devotees existed at the time of Prahlad Maharaj, existed at the time of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and will always exist if devotees actually live and speak as devotees. Quote, When Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu started the Sankirtan movement, even he was unnecessarily criticized by Mayavadis, atheists, and fools. Naturally, we are also criticized by such men. They will always remain and will always criticize anything that is actually good for human society. But the preachers of the Sankirtan movement should not be deterred by such criticism. Srila Prabhupada accepted demonic attacks on our movement as an opportunity to educate the public about our teachings. Quote, Kamal Krishna Maharaj, I think that what you are telling us is perfect in that now what we have to do is we have to vigorously explain our philosophy. Srila Prabhupada, yes, Kamal Krishna Maharaj, that's the only way. We have to educate them. If we remain silent now, then we will become squashed. We have to speak positively. Yes, this is why we are like this because of the following reasons. Srila Prabhupada, yes, and that is for and that is good for human being that you have to convince. And actually that is fact. They are in ignorance and they are advertising themselves as scientists, philosopher, false propaganda. That is my view from the very beginning. They are nothing, all bokas, fools. My Guru Maharaj used to say. In the beginning, I could not understand that. Why he says everyone is boka, laughs. Actually, that is fact. They do not know the value of life. End quote. Even devotees who do not preach are often harassed by demons, who cannot tolerate seeing others spoil their lives by abjuring sense gratification and worshipping a god whom atheists deem to be mythical and whom sectarian religionists consider satanic. So devotees who are determined to stick to their principles must be ready to tolerate being viewed as odd, antisocial, or worse. However, that people react to devotees even negatively means that devotees are making an impression. Indeed, the more that others are upset, the more they indirectly acknowledge the significance of the devotees and their teachings. Although opponents are unlikely to admit it, their strong adverse responses show that they cannot ignore the devotees and also suggest that they fear the devotees' message and very existence as a severe challenge to all the falsity in which the non devotees have invested. During the 1960s, Srila Prabhupada became pleased when told that Alan Watts, a prominent atheistic author, had indignantly refused to review Srila Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita manuscript. Srila Prabhupada commented, our preaching is proved successful when the demons are disturbed. Quote, we must remember that such incidents as Chand Kazi's objections to Sankirtan took place in the past 500 years ago, and the fact that they are still going on indicates that our Sankirtan movement is really authorized. For if Sankirtan were an insignificant material affair, demons would not object to it. The demons of the time tried to obstruct the Sankirtan movement started by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Similar demons are trying to obstruct the Sankirtan movement we are executing all over the world. And this proves that our Sankirtan movement is still pure and genuine, following in the footsteps of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. As soon as you become successful, there will be many enemies. That is natural. That is the sign of success. Unless there is opposition, it is not genuine. It is not genuine or it is not serious. Opposition must be there. End quote. Real preaching polarizes, just as the appearance of Krishna in this world instigates the demons to harass the devotees until Krishna intervenes and renders his devotees victorious. So also do demons become riled up upon his appearance in the form of the pure Hari Kirtan of uncompromised propagation of his glories. Such polarization forces genuine devotees to walk the walk by increasing their surrender to Krishna, being confident that Krishna will protect them. Devotees who are not fully surrendered prefer to live more comfortably by deliberately not invoking opposition, but such comfort is their downfall. Better to accept the challenges that compel one to surrender. Those who are too anxious about being accepted by the misguided general populace cannot offer it any real welfare. Srila Prabhupada never accepted the policy of becoming acceptable to the public by not disturbing them, which converts the devotee into a servant of popular opinion rather than a servant of Krishna. Materialistic people may occasionally offer such compromised devotees a pat on the head while mostly ignoring them. Better to be disliked than unknown. When once informed of negative news articles, Srila Prabhupada said they were a good sign that the public the force was feeling pressure from us. When then asked if we should not worry about bad publicity, Srila Prabhupada replied, "Why worry about news articles? The day will come when they will fire on you. You have to be prepared." And following Srila Prabhupada's example, bold preachers are fearless. They are prepared to speak the truth and accept the consequences. Far from being intimidated by opposition, they thrive on it. Contrary to those devotees who scrupulously try to escape controversy, Srila Prabhupada often quoted it. He sometimes made his point in a manner practically guaranteed to alienate large sections of the public, as in his condemnation of feminism and his quarreling on stage with a hippie. After the interview in which a female reporter left in disgust, Satswarup Das Goswami asked Srila Prabhupada, if we speak these things on television and the newspapers and people become angry, if all the people become angry like she does, is it still good propaganda for us? Srila Prabhupada replied, no, then we chant Hare Krishna. We don't make disturbance. But in the Bhagavad Gita, everything is discussed. This Varna Sankar and the first class man, second class man, Varna Sankar definition, children conceived without regard for Vedic religious principles and thus of sinful inclination. If we have to push on the Krishna consciousness movement, then we have to discuss. But if they do not like, better chant Hare Krishna and don't discuss anything. But these things are discussed. If you are not agreeable to hear from Bhagavad Gita, then let us chant together Hare Krishna, that's all. But these things are discussed in the Bhagavad Gita about Varna Sankar. If the Varna Sankar population is increased, then it becomes hell. So if you want to increase the hellish person, then don't discuss. But if you think it is a problem, then discuss. End quote. This response might seem ambiguous. In essence, Srila Prabhupada stated, we do not want to disturb you if you do not want to consider these points. But to push on the Krishna consciousness movement, we have to discuss them. And actually, you should also be sensible enough to understand the need to examine these topics. Thus, it is understood that Srila Prabhupada did not want to become controversial simply to attract publicity or for other wrong reasons. His criteria was whatever is best to spread and establish Krishna's message within the world. Srila Prabhupada chose his controversies carefully and sometimes deliberately downplayed contentious issues. There's a bottom page. For instance, see his response to a letter of protest from Sumati Morarji. Yeah. When informed of widespread public dissatisfaction with devotees' collection techniques, he instructed, everyone should adore our members as honest. If we do something which is deteriorating to the popular sentiments of the public in favor of our movement, that is not good. Somehow or other, we should not become unpopular in the public eye. Clearly, Srila Prabhupada was not wholly insensitive to public opinion, yet it was not his guiding principle. Quote, our process is to show Krishna consciousness as it is, not as others want to see it. By showing Krishna consciousness in this way, you are making the thing less important. Unquote. Srila Prabhupada advocated gaining public acceptance by another radical method. Quote, I am not much fond of the idea of changing things to accommodate the public. Better to change the public to accommodate us. End quote. The path of satisfying God and that of gratifying the public rarely converge and are usually opposed. Those who serve public opinion can never properly serve Krishna. Devotees are concerned to please Krishna, not anyone else. Quote, we don't care whether anyone agrees or not. We push on, that's all. We don't care for them. We have to go forward. That is our business. If Krishna agrees, that is all right. We don't care for anyone else, agrees or not agrees. If our master agrees, we are servants. That is our satisfaction. End quote. Srila Prabhupada sharply criticized the predilection for being concerned about vox populi. Quote, what is the value of opinion if the people are all asses? There is no opinion. One should, one should take as it is enjoined in the Shastra, no opinion. What is the use of taking opinion of an ass? So the people are trained up just like dogs and asses. Then what is the use of their opinion? If you are to enforce, you must do like this. Just like when we introduced this, no illicit sex. I never cared for their opinion. The opinion, immediately there will be discussion. And what is the use of taking their opinion? It must be done. That is the defect of Western civilization, vox populi, taking opinion of the public. But what is the value of this public? Drunkards, smokers, meat eaters, woman hunters. They are not first class men. So what is the use of such third class, fourth class men's opinion? We do not advocate such opinion. What Krishna said, that is standard. That is all. Krishna is the supreme and his version is final. End quote. It is a duty of a genuine devotee to always choose the path of satisfying Krishna and the acharyas, even if that entails having to pass his entire life battling the relentless waves of popular opinion. I'll read that again. It is a duty of a genuine devotee to always choose the path of satisfying Krishna and the acharyas, even if that entails having to pass his entire life battling the relentless waves of popular opinion. Knowing that the desire to be liked, to be accepted by others, and to live peacefully is the enemy of truth. A real devotee lives by the conviction that it is better to present the unadulterated truth, even if no one accepts it, or he becomes an object of scorn. For doing so, than to dispense a diluted message to which many will respond favorably. Quote, we are not after vox populi. That is not our concern. We have got our standard method. That is making us successful. We do not make any compromise. This is our method. If you like it, you take it. If you don't like, go away. Srila Prabhupada often quoted the following prayer of Prahlad Maharaj to Nrsimhadev. Evam janam nipatitam prabhavahi kupe kama vikamam manuyah prapatan prasangat कृत्वात्म साध सुर ऋषिणा भगवन गृहीतः सोहम कथम नु विसृजे तव भृत्य सेवा. My dear Lord, O Supreme Personality of Godhead, because of my association with material desires, one after another, I was gradually falling into a blind well full of snakes, following the general populace. But your servant, Sri Narad Muni, kindly accepted me as his disciple and instructed me how to achieve this transcendental position. Therefore, my first duty is to serve him. How could I leave his service? End quote. It is most regrettable that some devotees, having once been saved by Srila Prabhupada from following the general populace, have become reconverted into mediocre members of the public and are no longer surrendered servants of the Vaishnavas. The goal of a committed devotee is not to satisfy people whose minds are distorted by material desires and misconceptions. Rather, he attempts to remove those impurities by hacking at their root, envy of Krishna. It is farcical if, on the plea of making others favorable, devotees adopt a policy of suppressing the teachings of Krishna consciousness or if they act contrarily to its principles. Those who thus pander to the imbecility of the envious persons are not actual devotees but traitors. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you to Sri Shyam Prabhu for assisting in reading. So we'll continue tomorrow from the chapter 18th. Uh, we completed today, I think, 3 chapters. So we hope all devotees are becoming enlightened by reading this very clear message of His Holiness Bhakti Vikas Maharaj with regards to preaching by quoting Srila Prabhupada profusely and explaining things how the preaching should be done. So uh, hope you continue reading with us all the way to the end of the book, and hope to see you all again. Thank you very much. If you want to take this book on speaking strongly in Srila Prabhupada service, it is available on the website books.pvks.com. It is available in English, Hindi, 2 languages, and we can deliver it all over the world. Also, it is available as a ebook on Google Play, and Kindle, and iBook. All these platforms, book is available. So kindly get a copy and read it. This kind of book requires a few readings in order to properly understand, because it's a lot deeper message, and that required some basic understanding of Krishna consciousness also. But it's a very good book to clear the understanding what Krishna consciousness, what the preaching of Krishna consciousness is. So thank you very much for joining, and see you all tomorrow. Krishna willing. Hare Krishna.